Hello everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show, the UK's only programme that's dedicated to your mental health and well-being. So today is the start of Anti-Bullying Week and we're taking a look at how bullying can affect people in the long term. Helping us explore how our mental health responds to bullying is resident psychologist Dr. Nihara Krause. We then have parenting coach Sharon Lawton on hand to give some tips to you parents out there with a child suffering from bullying. And organisation Bullies Out talk about what they do to raise awareness of the issue and what help is available. We also get a quick and nutritious recipe courtesy of nutritionist Lily Soutter that will be sure to keep your children's moods lifted throughout the school day. And newsreader Helena Chard informs us on the latest in positive news. And at the end of the show, I'll give you some tips on how to deal with bullying. Now, the statistics on bullying, especially with regards to young people, is hard to hear, to say the least, with surveys conducted by Ditch the Label stating that 50% of the 1.5 million young people in the UK have been bullied in the past year alone, with 19% of them bullied every day. Boys are twice more likely to be bullied than girls and also twice as likely to be bullying other people. And with 41% of victims developing social anxiety and a further 44% developing depression, it's now important more than ever to stop this from happening. But what do you think about this? We took to Twitter to find out. Katie says, you are never alone even if it seems that way. If you see or are a victim of bullying, speak up. You are the change the world needs. Anti-Bullying Alliance urges the following: if you are being bullied, it is not your fault. Tell someone, ask for help. Lindaway says, cyberbullying is so sad. When people commit suicide, you preach on the very same platform that depression is real. Ellie Laniak says, bullying is the lowest of low. No matter what the situation is, bullying is just disgusting and there's zero excuse. Roger reminds us of the important thing, saying, I was reminded again today, being kind is not a sign of weakness, bullying is. So some very interesting thoughts on bullying there. So what does our resident psychologist, Dr. Nihara Krause, have to say about the mental implications of bullying? Well, here she is. Welcome to the show, Nihara.
Thank you.
So we're talking about bullying today. Can you tell us how this affects children, first of all?
Children can get very traumatized by being bullied. It makes them feel very unhappy, it makes them feel very confused. Sometimes if it's happening at school, they might not want to go to school. They can present with lots and lots of physical complaints, often saying that their tummy hurts or that they feel afraid. They can have lots of dreams, it can affect their sleep. And it can make them really quite worried, sometimes a bit more clingy to people who they see as safe.
Okay, so it's good to look out for those kind of signs, definitely, to know.
Yeah.
Okay then, and the thing is that even if the bullying stops, or maybe they move school or something like that, and they're not being bullied anymore, the effects can still go on, can't they?
Yes, it seems as though the effects of bullying are really far-reaching and can go all the way into adulthood if it's not dealt with. And those can be in terms of affecting how you see yourself. So it can affect your self-image, it can affect your self-worth. It can also affect how you relate to other people. So it becomes a bit difficult to trust people. You might worry about people's responses to you. You might avoid doing certain things because you feel embarrassed or ashamed. And it can also make you feel perhaps hesitant at, putting yourself out there, because you might think, actually, if I'm noticed, then maybe I'll experience further bullying. Okay.
Do you think adults actually realise, or many of them realise, that it's because of bullying in the past that's actually made them sort of their behaviour to be that way, or can some adults sort of just carry on through life not even realising, and some will just know straight away?
I think some don't really make the connection, because sometimes it seems as though, okay, I was bullied when I was 8, and at 32, why am I still like this? And people don't tend to link it up. But I think often it is the impact it has on your self-esteem that is the biggest impact.
Okay, what to do then?
Well, there's lots of things that you can do. I think the first thing is to admit that, that things weren't good and that you were bullied, because often people try to deny that because they feel ashamed or embarrassed, and they think somehow if people know, they might lose their credibility with them. So most important thing, admit that these experiences happened. I think the second thing is to then try and work on your self-esteem and self-worth, and that means, if you wanted to do things and you've held yourself back, don't. Go ahead and do them. Try and make some forward plan, have some goals and try and continue to approach those. If you feel that your relationships with people are affected, then it might be worth going and talking to a relationship therapist or to somebody who can help you to explore why you might be relating in that way. Often I think people who are bullied will experience lots more anxiety, or in fact they might be quite unhappy and depressed. And if that's the case, then again, try and see if you can talk to somebody, see if you can perhaps work on the thoughts that you have, your negative thoughts. You might respond well to cognitive therapy, for example. And sometimes if you're bullied and you're bullied because, let's say, about the way you look, then it might affect how you eat, for example. It might affect, some people might overeat in order to hide behind and deal with things. And if that's the case, then again, there's lots and lots of help out there to help you to manage how you feel differently.
I think this anti-bullying week is a good opportunity, not for us just to try to stop bullying and help people that are going through it now, but it's a good opportunity for those that have been through it and it's still affected them to actually pluck up the courage, if they haven't done already, to actually go and see someone and get the help that they need. That's a perfect opportunity.
Exactly. I think it's really good to raise awareness, because first of all, it makes people recognize that they're not alone. And secondly, it gives them permission to go ahead and ask for help, as you say, and I think that's so important.
Yeah, definitely. Nihara, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we shall see you again very soon on the program.
Thank you very much, Chrissy.
Thank you. Well, everyone, not so long ago, we had on Anna Kennedy and singer Macauley Elvin, and here he is performing his power single, Hollow, for Anti-Bullying Week.
About trying to make you proud, and now I'ma stand up, sing my songs out loud. They may knock me down, but I'll fight back somehow. So watch me lyrically attack all the ways you put me down. Put my life on the line. Someday I will make it shine. Stronger, don't put down no longer. I'll do this my way. Don't care what you say. Who are you to make me feel hollow? Who are you to make me feel hollow, hollow, hollow? Who are you? Tell me I can be who be? Who are you that made me feel hollow?
Thanks very much to Macauley, and if you're a performer with your own inspirational song and would like to perform on the Chrissy B Show, all you have to do is to email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. Well, don't go away, because after the break we have on Sharon Lawton discussing what parents can do for bullied children, and Helena Chard gives us the latest in feel-good news. But first, according to the Centre for Disease Control, what percentage of middle schoolers are being cyberbullied? Is it A, 4%, B, 24%, or C, 54%? Think you know the answer? Find out if you're right after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, your TV program for all things mental health and well-being. Now, before the break, we asked you, according to the Centre for Disease Control, what percentage of middle schoolers are being cyberbullied? Is it A, 4%, B, 24%, or C, 54%? The answer is B. 24% of middle schoolers aged 11 to 14 experience some form of cyberbullying at school. So with bullying so prevalent at such a young age, what can parents do to help their children? Well, here to help us with that is our lovely resident family coach, Sharon Lawton. Welcome to the show, Sharon.
Hi, Chris.
So what can parents do? But actually, first of all, tell us about the kind of signs that parents should look out for.
Okay, well, there's a whole variety of signs to really be aware of, to be perfectly honest. Mm-hmm. And when a child is being bullied, they can often feel very disempowered, very scared that if they say anything, the bullying will get worse. Mm-hmm. And so that can affect their self-esteem, it erodes confidence, it can affect their physical health. Also, schoolwork can be affected. But I would say, you know, the classic signs, apart from that, to look for is any sort of extreme in behaviour. So if your child suddenly becomes extremely withdrawn or extremely secretive or very fearful of going out or very anxious about going to school, or refuses to talk about unexplained cuts, bruises, you know, that type of thing, or different possessions suddenly going missing or being damaged and refusing to say how or why. So, you know, anything like that, really, there would be sort of, that would be a little bit of a flag. I
mean, in an ideal world, children would tell their parents if they're being bullied, but in case maybe they haven't actually told their parents, but the parent suspects, what's the best way to approach your child?
So you're absolutely right. There, you know, it would be really nice if we lived in a world where there wasn't any bullying. Unfortunately, that isn't the case. I think the important thing is, as I said at the beginning, children can feel very fearful that if they speak about it, it's just going to get worse. Now, in my opinion, bullies thrive in that environment. So it's a little bit like, you know, sort of under the cover of darkness, you know, so, you know, if it's all kept a secret, then that actually empowers the bully even more. So it is important that children are empowered to know that bullying is wrong, full stop. It's never okay. And that there is always something you can do. So to encourage your child just to talk in a very non-judgmental way, so encourage them to sort of gently open up and talk with somebody. Now, that's really important, the talk with, because children get hung up on telling. And so talking with someone whom you trust, and that might not necessarily be a parent, that just might be another safe adult, is really important, because a child needs to know that they have a right to be safe and that there is always something that they can do. So empowerment, teaching resilience skills is important so that they feel confident body language, because, you know, if we're fearful, that affects our body language and that fuels the bully even more. It might be encouraging them to go along and join a club of some kind. So it might be drama club, or it might be fitness club, or anything really, because that can help with confidence generally, you know, sort of on a general level, generally speaking. So there, you know, lots of sort of little things like that can be sort of helpful, just little things to do.
Do you think a parent should just come out and say, are you being bullied, or is there a better way of sort of saying it, because they, maybe that word would scare them?
It's very tricky, isn't it? Because the parent, if they suspect a child is being bullied, or they sort of know, if you like, you know, without the actual hard evidence, they are going to be emotionally charged themselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes, because of that, we can go in a little bit like a bull in a china shop, you know.
I'm smiling because I just remember what my father, when, it wasn't a very good scene when he found out my sister was being bullied. He didn't even go to the teacher, he went straight to the child.
Yeah, because we're emotionally charged, you know. We could go into sort of like, he went into that sort of lion mode of protection, didn't he, you know. Yeah. But unhelpful. Never got bullied again. Yeah, it can be unhelpful. I think sometimes, you know, by doing things like that, we can disempower children. Then they won't open up to us because they sort of think, I can't tell dad or I can't tell mum, because then they'll go charging off because we want to fix it, we want to make it better, and actually that doesn't particularly help.
It's a natural instinct, isn't it? But it's not the best way.
No, or telling them to fight back. That's not helpful either, and quite unsafe. Can I just say though one thing? A lot of experts and charities and that out there will talk about the different types of bullying. And if you'll just allow me the privilege just to say that, in my opinion, physical bullying, that's not bullying. That's abuse. Okay. That's you know, if you're being physically attacked, that's a criminal offence. So, you know, if you are in fear of being attacked, then you must report it. You know, that is really important, because that's a crime. And you know, so where that's concerned, I think if we just sort of mix that up in, I'm you know, not saying that any other type of bullying is less dangerous, but you know, the physical side of things, you know, that's a complete no-no for me. Anyway,
definitely. So Sharon, once like the child has maybe opened up to the parent or another adult and is, you know, the situation is being dealt with, but how then do you maybe kind of parent build up that child's confidence, apart from the clubs and stuff, things at home that can be done?
So we need to be aware of ourselves, what's going on with ourselves, because parenting is a little bit like holding up a mirror. So we need to be examining our own behaviours as well. You know, do we naturally fix it for our children and disempower them to feel that they can actually make decisions for themselves? You know, there's so little things like helping children to make choices around, you know, sort of just simple decision making, helping them to problem solve and empower them. I mean, when I'm working with families, we play sort of games. So we play a game called Even If. So we will start off with some really funny things. So a little bit along the lines of, it might be, how could you keep yourself safe even if you had to wash behind an elephant's ears? You know, and it's all sort of fun. And how can you keep yourself safe even if you had to clean a crocodile's teeth? And depending on the age of the child, you know, they might sort of come up with all sort of different ideas. But the way behind that is, it's a fun way of teaching problem solving skills. And the more you do that, the more you're able to help your child to lay down good, strong synapses in the brain around thinking about solution focused ideas.
Rather than just telling them this is the way to do it.
Exactly, because when someone tells you, it's not helpful, is it, always? And you can't always remember in the moment.
And you've always got that fear of disappointment. Oh, if I don't do it like mummy or daddy says, then I'm disappointed.
Then I've done it wrong, and then I'm even more of the, you know, no good. And then you can build it up to, you know, things like, okay, so what could you do to keep yourself safe if someone was being unkind to you in the playground, or if you got lost and there wasn't anybody around to pick you up, or so there's different questions like that. And then also, you know, if your child really is at risk, you can put together sort of safety plans. So if I'm feeling unsafe, I can, and then sort of have a different things or things they can do if they're feeling unsafe. So it's a more of a proactive, positive way of keeping yourself safe around bullying, rather than, you know, disempowering by looking at the negative. Right. Okay. So that's, for me, that's the way I would work.
I think that sounds excellent. Sharon, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And we'll see you again very soon for another parenting topic. Chris. Thank you. All right, everybody, so there's always something to smile about, and here with us to shine a light on that is newsreader Helena Chard with this week's A Helping of Happy. Welcome to the show, Helena.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Lovely to have you on again.
Thank you, thank you.
And we also have our dessert for today, and today's treat comes courtesy of Wilton Patisserie in Southgate. Look at this lovely dessert, Helena.
Beautiful.
We've got our spoons to tuck in afterwards.
Absolutely. We won't do it right this
We're not going to do it right now
because the fruit as well.
I know, it looks amazing, doesn't it?
Lovely,
and meringue on top.
I can't wait.
But first, we're going to hear some news, aren't we, Helena?
We are. So I'm really looking forward to the new Hollywood movie that's coming out called Wonder. and it's a lovely movie, very inspiring, and it's about Augie Pullman, who has a condition called Treacher-Collins syndrome.
Okay.
And he is played by Jacob Tremblay, who is the most amazing performer, a really good actor. He performed in Room, I don't know if you saw it.
No.
But so Treacher-Collins is when you're born without cheeks, ears, and you have like a receding chin. So for the whole of your childhood, you're having operations. So quite a sad condition. But Augie, he used to wander around with a space helmet on because he didn't want anyone to see him. But what happens is he's picked on at school, and then eventually everything turns around and he actually becomes quite popular. But it's a really nice, heartwarming one to see, so looking forward to it. But I was really excited because when I was doing my research, I came across Ashley Carter, who is now 16. He has the same genetic condition, and he again was bullied, suffered terrible anxiety at school, and it, all to do with the way he looked. It's just really sad, isn't it?
It doesn't take much to be bullied, to be honest.
It doesn't. But, so he enlisted the help of Fixers.org, which is a great charity, and it gives young people a voice, and they helped him make a little film about. It's really to help prevent bullying. It talks about him and how he grew up, and it's trying to get the message across, that everyone should have a safe childhood. To try the bullies to stop bullying, and obviously for people bullied to speak out. And it's a really lovely little video, really strong. And he's turned things around, helps lots of people, and is really quite popular now and working at various things, which is really nice. And the Fixers.org, in fact, there's loads of very inspiring stories, so we'll be able to talk about a few more of them. And they're funded by the lottery, and they have like a creative team working with them. So the Fixers are the people, they're youngsters really, young people from 16 to 25 who use their negative past really to create a positive.
Okay, nice.
And it really works with a team of creatives, which is very nice. Moving on to a funny campaign. It's not funny really at all. It's a different way of funny. Is not the right word, is it, when you're talking about bullying at all? But Burger King has launched a new anti-bullying campaign. It's like an experiment, and it was released in the States. And it really is to raise awareness really about the 30% of students that are bullied worldwide. So what they did, it's quite simple in a way. They chose a Burger King, and they had a group of actors. There was a young boy who was being bullied, and lots of boys around him who were bullying him. And they had also people that were ordering their burgers. The people that were making the burgers were sort of attacking the burgers a bit. So by the time people actually had ordered their burger and sat down, they realised that the burger had been a bit sort of like bashed around. And the irony is to really show that people are quite lax, they don't really speak out. So 95% of customers reported their burger as being bullied. So they went up and said,
they didn't say anything.
And only 12% of customers actually said, excuse me, there's a young child. And they were like throwing, pushing him, poking him, throwing drink over his food, and it was really quite something. So it's quite an interesting concept, and it has a lot of teenagers have really keyed into it.
So interesting what they did.
It's just simple. And it also shows how brands can raise awareness with something so simple.
Good on Burger King.
Yeah, I think so too. And also reading about Tim Lott, who's a guy who did a report for The Guardian, and he was bullied terribly at school. In fact, bullied by his family, bullied all his life. And again, he's turned it around. And he was saying how the most effective solution he feels is for the stronger children, this is at school, to basically condemn the perpetrator. Obviously, because that will stop the minute that nothing's stronger than peer pressure, and it could really help. In fact, that's happening in society, isn't it? Completely with everything. And so that's very interesting. And in fact, also the Diana Award has anti-bullying ambassadors, and I know anti-bullying ambassadors are really quite popular now in schools, aren't they? And Facebook is funding new training to do with that, and working with the Diana Award. And I think the idea is that every secondary school should have a digital safety ambassador on board, and they're going to give the money. It's Facebook, and they need to. It's good for them to do. Just one. I actually think it's very little. I mean, at least it's something, but I mean, they, billions and trillions, what can I say? And I think they're giving $1 million, which to me actually is not that much. But it's going the right way. It's going the right way.
Something is a start.
It is.
Yes.
That's good. And just finally, so new research suggests that young people are more likely to discuss online bullying with each other than with parents and teachers. So that whole thing about having ambassadors at school is really so important, isn't it? So important.
Helena, thank you so much. Is it time to try the dessert? It's time to try this dessert, everybody. So we will try and describe it as best we can. We can't really cut it, as you can see, because it's a dessert. Cheers! Cheers! I don't even know where to start, Helena. So this has some meringue. I kind of want a strawberry as well.
I really fancy blueberry.
There's no neat way of doing this, everybody, I'm afraid. Why is it only on me? It should be on Helena as well, you know. Here we go. So I don't look like the piggy here. Okay, this is quite... Oh my goodness.
Yummy.
Look at my
You can do it. Come on.
This is very nice and creamy, meringue,
really
and
nice
and fruity.
Fruit and everything's really good.
Thank you very much, Wilton Patisserie. That was actually delicious, guys, and I'm sure I'm going to have a bit more afterwards. Helena, what did you think?
So good.
Oh, yummy. Too yummy. Moorish. Okay, but don't go away, because after the break, resident nutritionist Lily Soutter gives us a comprehensive guide on which foods to make for school that are good for your child's mental health. And she also answers your questions, which include this one. My 12-year-old just became a vegan, but I'm worried she'll end up anemic. What foods do I feed her? Find out the answer after this break. Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, the program that loves to look after your mental health and well-being. Now with us to talk about which foods to make for school that are good for your child's mental health is our lovely nutritionist, Lily Soutter. Welcome to the show, Lily.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
So obviously what we give our children, especially at school, to keep them going is really, really important, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think it's really important to focus on sort of good nutrition when it comes to mental health, especially if people are going through sort of stressful times in their lives, like bullying or anything along those side of things. It's just really, really important. And, you know, good nutrition and nourishing the body with good food is just vital, as well as focusing on fueling the brain as well with proper food. And it's going to support all aspects of health, and we can just better cope with life stresses that come our way.
Okay.
I think when it comes to nutrition and school and bullying, it's really important to focus on like the different types of stresses that I don't know appear, and how it affects our eating in that sense. So for some, potentially it can lead to under-eating. So sometimes people just don't feel very hungry when there's a lot of stress going on in their lives. And what can happen is people can start skipping meals, they just don't feel hungry, they may have long gaps between meals as well. And if we sort of skip meals or have long gaps between meals, we can have low blood sugar. It literally causes our blood sugar to crash. And this is sort of another term is called hypoglycemia. It's when your blood sugar's low. And when we have low blood sugar, it can lead to sort of symptoms of irritability, sort of tearfulness, anxiety, mood swings, just extreme tiredness, and just not feeling as you usually would. And if you're in this state, you can't really manage life stresses that are thrown your way. Definitely not good for brain function, because our brain literally runs off fuel, of glucose. So concentration and mood just goes straight out the window. So yeah, just making sure you're getting 3 meals in a day, sort of no matter what, if you can. And if hunger's not there, getting in good snacks to sort of balance blood sugar is going to be vital. One more thing. The other thing to focus on as well is people go the other way as well. You know, if you're under a lot of overeating, and if you're under a lot of stress, self-care just goes straight out the window. And attention to good nutrition, sleep, exercise is also goes out the window. And people can tend to start focusing on sort of quick fix foods throughout the day just to keep them going for energy. So they may focus on sort of, you know, refined sugars, lots of biscuits, cakes, pastries, crisps. They're quick snack foods. What happens is if you rely on those types of foods throughout the day, again, your blood sugar is sort of doing this all day long. So it's sort of a roller coaster, which is happening. And you're having these blood sugar highs where you're getting a surge of energy to your brain, but that will result in a sort of a blood sugar crash, where again you can get those symptoms of sort of anxiety, tearfulness, you know, low mood, just not being able to cope with everyday stresses, which it's not optimal.
So either way, not good.
All
right, but you're going to show us something very simple today that's good for children and adults alike.
Children and adults, no matter what, and you know, whatever life stresses you're under, or wherever you are, whether you're in your office or at work, or whether it's in a packed lunch, making sure that whatever you're eating is going to balance blood sugar is absolutely vital. And we've got sort of several components. We've got whole grain bread, which is very, very rich in fibre. We've got avocado, which are full of healthy, sort of heart healthy fats, which again, we really need a lot of good fats in the diet to support brain health. And then we have eggs, which are a great source of protein. Often protein goes amiss within many people's diets when they're under stress or they're just reaching for quick fix foods. They lack that protein element, so it's absolutely vital. So all we have to do is very, very easy, is we just throw a few leaves of spinach just onto the bread. You can also have this toasted as well.
And spinach has the iron, is it?
Spinach has iron. It's also rich in magnesium, which is a calming mineral, and it's also a source of folate, which is needed for energy.
Lovely.
And then we just put some sliced avocado. So you can either mash this with a sort of a fork onto the toast, or you can just slice it.
Maybe for the kids to actually put the sandwich together, right? Instead of like an open... you could put it as a sandwich together. Either way, and avocado is great as a replacement for mayonnaise, and also butter as well. And then we have the eggs, which is obviously the vital part, is getting that protein into diets, especially for children, because sometimes they can rely on just very sort of sugary fruit juices and sugary fruits throughout the day, and low protein foods, and it's so essential for growth and development. So you literally just boil some eggs, peel them, and then... It's that simple. It's so healthy.
Absolutely. And then the last bit that we do is, this may not be so much for children,
yes,
more
I was
for the
going to say, I
adults.
see chili flakes.
Chili flakes just give it a little bit of spice without having to add a ton of salt. So this is more for the adults. I wouldn't do this for the children. It also kind of looks pretty as well.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Look at that.
So
that's very nice, Lily.
Great. So
it looks filling as well.
Very filling, and it's just very, very quick to do. And you can boil the eggs, you know, the night before and the weekend, and just leave them in your fridge and peel them as and when you need to.
Brilliant. That looks lovely. We're going to try that later. But first we have a few questions from our viewers, including the one that was asked before the break, Lily, which was, my 12-year-old just became a vegan and I'm worried she'll end up anemic. What foods do I feed her?
So there are several aspects to focus on with vegan diets, because there's sort of numerous potential deficiencies. I would strongly advise that maybe she were to see a nutritionist just to make sure that her child is getting everything that she needs within the diet. From a sort of an iron point of view, she's going to have to focus obviously on plant-based sources of iron, like beans, lentils, chickpeas, nuts, seeds, even spinach. The only issue with plant-based sources of iron is that they sort of have these inhibitors in a way that can block absorption of iron, so you don't sort of absorb as much as you would hope to. The other thing is plant-based sources of iron are sort of, not in an absorbable form, so they're called non-heme iron. So meat sources of iron are very, very absorbable and utilised by the body in a very easy way, and they're called heme iron. So it's a little bit of a struggle to get good doses of iron from a vegan diet. The best way to make sure that she is sort of maximising absorption is to include lots of vegetables or fruit with each meal, because vegetables and fruit are very rich in vitamin C, and vitamin C literally facilitates the absorption of iron in the body. It sort of maximises the absorption. If her daughter's struggling with the vegetables at each meal, this is something she would have to check with a nutritionist or doctor, but you could think about a sort of a low dose vitamin C supplement. I don't like recommending drinking orange juice with every meal, but that is another option, just to get some vitamin C in at each meal. But it's the vitamin C with the iron-rich foods that she really needs to focus on. If all else fails, maybe iron supplements.
Okay, brilliant. Next question, Lily. I want to eat healthier, but I hate veggies. Can I get my 5 a day from fruits? You could, but your sugar consumption probably would be pretty high. The best diet is a varied diet, because you find different nutrients in vegetables in comparison to fruit. So the healthiest diets aren't just focusing on one food group, it is having a variety, because every food works synergistically together, not in isolation. So ideally, I tell my clients, try and get 3 vegetables in a day if you can, and 2 portions of fruit. It's not a set rule, it's just that it's very easy to consume fruit because it's very sugary and it's very palatable. If they don't like sort of vegetables, they could think about adding spices, even like these sort of chili flakes to give it a little bit of flavour. Cold pressed oils, sort of like, I don't know, olive oil, sesame seed oil, or hiding their veg in smoothies where you can't taste spinach in a sweeter smoothie. Soups, casseroles, sort of stew type things, you can mask vegetables in a very easy way. I mean, and also I think maybe they haven't tried, obviously they haven't probably tried all the kind of vegetables out there, because you might find that if you just experiment and try different things, you might actually find something that you like.
I think we should be sort of open with trying new things, because sometimes, we don't all have to love spinach and focus on spinach. There could be another green vegetable that we like, and that does sort of similar things. So
okay, brilliant. And one last question. This person's saying, I'm trying to get my kids off of fizzy sugary drinks. Aside from juice and squash, what else can I give them?
It's a little bit of a tricky one, because you don't want to kind of get your child hooked onto sugary drinks in the first place, because it can be hard to wean them off, but it's totally possible. Focusing on things like infused waters is a good stance to take. So you could have sort of berries and infuse the water overnight with those berries, and it will give it a sweeter sort of flavour. You could look at sort of cucumber, mint, lemon, grapefruit, just to give it some kind of flavour. Herbal teas, but maybe not herbal teas, fruit teas could bode well. They're not sweet, but they've got a fruity flavour, and if sort of her children don't want hot teas, you can actually brew a batch of fruit tea and then leave it in the fridge, and so it's like a cold flavoured drink without the sugar.
That's a great idea.
So that's probably top tips.
Okay, lovely, and that's it for today, Lily. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again very soon. And everybody at home, if you have a question for one of our nutritionists, you can email us on nutrition@chrissybshow.tv. Well, don't go away, because after the break we talk with Linda James, CEO of Bullies Out, on how her organisation is helping to stop bullying everywhere, and I'll give you some tips on how you can deal with bullies. But first, is this true or false? By the age of 30, approximately 40% of boys who were identified as bullies in middle and high school have been arrested 3 or more times. What do you think? Find out the answer after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, where today we've been talking all about bullying. Now, before the break, I asked you if this was true or false. By the age of 30, approximately 40% of boys who were identified as bullies in middle and high school have been arrested 3 or more times. The answer, unfortunately, is true. According to a survey made by NoBullying.com, students who are bullies as young adults continue the trend of abuse and violence into adulthood. Now, here on the show, we love to feature individuals, organisations or charities that are doing their part to help better society. And today, we have Linda James of the charity Bullies Out, who's here to talk about what they've been doing to help fight against bullying. Welcome to the show, Linda.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell us all about Bullies Out. How did it start and what's your role?
Well, I actually set the charity up myself.
Oh, right.
In May 2006, so we're 11 years old.
Wow.
And it was set up because of personal experiences. I was bullied myself. Had a very negative impact on my life for a very long time.
Okay.
And then my younger son was badly bullied at school. So I also saw bullying from a parent's perspective as well.
Yeah.
And at the time, 11 years ago, there was very, very little anti-bullying resources where we were. And I just wanted to set something up where young people could talk about what they were going through, receive help and support. But within a couple of weeks of setting it up, I realised that the problem was far bigger than I'd actually thought, and the charity just grew and grew.
It was amazing that you actually took that initiative, because I mean, you could have just said, okay, I'll get help for myself, I'll get help for my son, and just left it at that. But the fact that you actually wanted to do something yourself, you felt that passionate about it.
Yeah, I did, because I knew what it did to me. You know, I developed an eating disorder. I tried to take my own life. And then...
How long ago was this? Was this
when
as an
I
adult
was,
or
no, as a teen.
As a teen,
I left school without sitting my formal exams. I was a straight A student, and so then, you know, you start to begin to believe those words. Thick, stupid, idiot. That's what my bully used to say. And then, so as an adult, I felt that's what I was, because I didn't have my formal exams. I didn't have that piece of paper that said pass, pass, pass. So I started to believe that, well, I must be thick, I must be stupid. And then I had the eating disorder, and I was well into my 30s before I really got a grip on that. And so when my son was bullied, that's all I could see for him was an eating disorder, not sitting exams, trying to take his own life. And not just him, but the thousands of children and young people going through the same thing.
How did the two of you get help then? Because obviously you must have got yourself into a better place to start the charity in the first place.
Yeah, we did. I managed to get him some help and support. It took his school a long time to finally listen to me, and it was only when he was put in hospital that they did listen. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then he was coming to the end of his time at primary school, because it was in his last year of primary school, and I moved him to a different secondary school. He didn't go to the feeder secondary school, and they were amazing. And he did get a lot of help and support from them to overcome it. And he's 23 now, and he's doing absolutely fantastic. But for myself, I never did get help and support. I didn't tell anybody what I was going through, which is probably why it stayed with me for such a long time, and why I didn't want it to happen to him.
Does having the charity that has that helped you heal as well?
Absolutely. And which is why I'm so passionate about people telling. But I also do know how hard that is as well, but how important it is to do so.
Tell us what the charity does exactly.
Well, we mentor people. We have trained mentors who are there, and we do it through e-mentoring, because so many young people don't want to talk face to face or on a phone, so we give them a different option, and so they're trained to sort of have this communication with young people, to let them offload, to stop them from bottling it up. But of course, the ultimate aim is to get them to tell somebody in the real world, because that's the only way that they're going to get it stopped. So we mentor, we deliver interactive and engaging workshops, all aimed at changing attitudes. We challenge stereotypes. Of course, there's cyberbullying, sexting, we cover all of that. We set up peer mentoring schemes in secondary schools, playground pals, buddy schemes in primary schools, so we deliver training as well, and we have youth engagement programs. So mainly they are young people that have been bullied. Again, it's all about mentoring, confidence building, empowerment, but they become our youth ambassadors.
That's amazing. So many things.
Well. Yeah, there's a lot going on from a charity that was just simply going to be about mentoring. And we work with educators as well. We have workshops for parents, and we have a workplace bullying program as well.
What kind of impact has this been having on people's lives?
A massive impact, and a positive one as well. And we have some amazing testimonials from young people that have said that we saved their lives, that they were very close to suicide.
How does that make you feel?
Amazing. You can't put a price on anything like that, can you? And there are days when we don't have any salaried staff or anything. We're quite small compared to some of the charities of today. And there are days, when your head's on the desk and you think, I can't do this anymore. And then, the computer bings and you get a message from a young person that has said, you've saved my life.
That's your salary, isn't it?
Your mentors are amazing. And you just go, well, I'm not giving up today. I'll carry on now for today, because you've made a difference to that child. And you get feedback from schools saying their mentoring schemes are outstanding and the young people are fantastic. And you just can't put a price on that. So of course you keep going, because it is all about the young people.
You can really see your passion.
It is absolutely. It is about them. It's an awful situation that they're in with bullying. It's when they're bullied, it's not their fault that they're bullied, and we've got to get them through what they're going through. Definitely. Now, Linda, just before you go, I would like to ask you regarding the bullies themselves, because obviously they need help themselves. They do.
Sometimes we kind of forget to talk about them as well. But can you tell us, why do you think they bully in the first place?
Do you know, there could be a lot of reasons. The majority of the bullies, they're not bad. They're not born bad. It's their behaviour that's wrong. And they could do this for a number of reasons. Yes, it could be something like they are jealous of the person that they're bullying, but it could go deeper than that. Maybe they are being bullied themselves. Perhaps there's problems at home. They could be feeling rejected by people who are supposed to love and care for them. Others use it as like a defense mechanism. So they think that by becoming the bully, they're going to be immune to actually being bullied themselves.
Like protection type of thing.
Absolutely. There's a number of reasons. It doesn't make any of it right. Of course it doesn't. But if we don't help and support them and help them to understand that what they're doing is wrong, that their behaviour is wrong, and help them to change their behaviour, then you're not going to stop that bullying cycle. They're just going to keep bullying and bullying and bullying. And how are they going to go through life in that negative environment with that negative behaviour? It's going to have such a negative impact on their whole lives, as well as the people that they're bullying. So we have to provide help and support for those as well.
Tackle it from all angles.
Absolutely. And
Linda, how can people become involved in Bullies Out?
Oh, there's lots of ways. On our website we have this whole page. Please help us. So they can get involved with fundraising, volunteering, becoming a member, helping us just distribute flyers in their local community, so people can pick up a flyer and find out how they can get help if they're affected by bullying as well.
Linda, thank you so much for coming and also for sharing your story and also telling us about Bullies Out.
You're welcome. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
No problem. All right, guys, so now before we go, we've got a bit more time for some tips of my own. So here are some tips now on how to deal with bullies, and these come courtesy of Teen Vogue. And the first thing they're suggesting is to create a top 5 list of people you love and trust, and to actually go to these people one by one and tell them exactly what you're going through. So the idea of that is that you can actually ask them for help and guidance. And if no one actually helps you, they're also suggesting maybe to create a top 10 list and to be persistent, because someone will definitely help you. The second point they suggest is to pick the teacher you trust the most and ask to speak with them after class. So it's really important that you actually spill out your heart to this person and discuss your troubles and actually ask them for help. And they're saying that finding an ally in a teacher is very, very helpful. The third thing that Teen Vogue suggests is to seek out the school guidance counsellor. So the guidance counsellor at your school is actually used to helping people who are actually going through all sorts of issues. So whether it's bullying, peer pressure or whatever. So make sure that you actually set up a meeting with them and tell them what's actually going on in your life. Just having someone there that understands you is always helpful. The fourth one is to have a chat with your parents. Now, this one in particular is probably scary, and as I said, we were talking earlier with Sharon, sometimes you might be afraid of how your parents will react and what they might do. But if you explain to your parents, if you feel comfortable obviously to talk to your parents about this and you know they're not going to do anything negative, as in go up to the school and get the bully and do something to them. If you know that's not going to happen, then it's good to actually speak to your parents about it. And actually I'd like to talk about myself at this point, because I was experiencing some hard times at school and I didn't tell it. I was quite young, but I didn't tell anyone. And actually what started happening, even though I was an older child, I actually started wetting my bed. And this was really worrying because I wasn't like a toddler anymore. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I must have been maybe 7 or 8 years old, if not older, and this was happening to me. And one of the questions, I actually had to see a psychologist, and one of the questions that I was asked was, are you being bullied? And for some reason I just said no. And I don't know why. I don't know if I was afraid of my parents. I don't know if I was afraid of maybe getting someone into trouble, but I felt like I wasn't really asked the right questions. It was a very direct question. Instead of sort of asking, is anything happening at school that's worrying you, or is there anything troubling you? It was just such a direct question that I really didn't want to open up. So that kind of stopped me from getting any help. And I had to, in the end, I had to get this kind of blanket that I would have on underneath my bed sheet, and if I wet the bed and it would go on this blanket, that an alarm would go off. It was horrible actually, because imagine being in the middle of a deep sleep and all of a sudden this really loud alarm sounds because of, anyway, it's supposed to train you basically to stop wetting your bed. And it did work, but I mean, it could have been solved in a different way if I'd felt comfortable enough to talk to someone. So, things can have consequences if you don't get the right help at the right time. It can lead to other things. So make sure that you do speak to your parents about it if you can, or at least someone that you trust, so that you don't actually have other consequences coming on after that as well. And obviously if you're older and the bedwetting isn't an issue, but other things can also happen. Let's go to the fifth point that Teen Vogue suggests, and that is to surround yourself with people who treat you really well. So, it's never a good thing to have people around you that are toxic friends, for example, people that make you feel bad. So, and if you are actually experiencing some kind of bullying, then having positive people around you, people that care about you, friends that are good to you, can take some of that weight off, the heaviness that you're feeling, and actually they'll be able to encourage you more. The next point that Teen Vogue talk about is to think about therapy, and they're saying that going to therapy doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It's just a therapist is there that you can actually vent to and also give you some advice as well. So that's something else that you can consider. And the seventh point they suggest is to join a youth program or youth centre. So there's lots of these that you can find in your community. There's fun activities. There's also maybe things that they do that can actually help build your confidence, maybe certain activities, competitions, all sorts of things. I know of a really good youth group that really helps to build people's confidence, so that's something that you could try. And also Teen Vogue suggests to find some hobbies, so whether it's sports, whether it's painting, whether it's books, whatever it is, there's lots of different stuff for people to do out there. So do ask around and do your research. And obviously there's also after school hobbies that you can actually go to with your friends as well. So those are the points that I wanted to share with you today. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, please do email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us your comments about this program, this episode, or others by emailing us again, or you can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you'd like to know more about me and how I beat depression and other mental health issues, you can visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Until next time, bye for now. Hello, Sharon.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
I'm very well, and you?
I'm very well. Oh my God. Well, very well. I'm very well.
Very well.
I'm very well. Very, very, very well. Can you do the link to break, Helena, please? You look at that camera there.
Don't go away, because after the break, resident nutritionist Lily Soutter gives us a comprehensive guide on which foods to make for school that are good for your child's, gosh,
Go ahead.
good for your child's health. No, come on. I quite fancied it.
It's really nice.
Well, is actually you're taking all the bits. It's really good, isn't it?
Thank you, guys.
It's unusually good.
You guys
Sorry.
did an excellent job eating. Can we continue with the link?
I'm not sure, because this is actually too good. We've got to get in while the going's good, you know, before it all goes.